Guest today is a star shooting guard for the Milwaukee Bucks. He played college basketball and baseball for Notre Dame. He was drafted by the Baltimore Orioles in the MLB draft and by the Brooklyn Nets in the NBA draft. He can slash to the hoop at will and dunk all over you, splash threes from all over the court, and of course, he's an NBA champion, winning the title in 2021. It's my absolute honor to welcome to Jake's Takes the one and only Pat Connaughton. Pat, how you doing?
What's up, Jake? I appreciate you having me on the show.
We did it! We got you, baby!
Yeah.
Thanks so much for being such a great guy to me.
Yeah, happy to do it, man. Happy to do it. Excited to see what you got in store for us today.
And of course, I got to give a huge thanks to Coach Forcier, legit my favorite guy in the NBA. I can't describe how much of a gem he is. Do you agree?
I agree. Couldn't agree more. He works with me on a daily basis. Why do you think I make so many jump shots?
By the way, I wanted to ask you about I'm from Toronto, right? So I wanted to ask you about your games against the Raptors. They always seem to be like dogfights. The game in Toronto with the late Raptors comeback to force OT. Then the game the other week with the Milwaukee with the Lopez Trent scuffle. I mean, I was gonna wear a headband, but I was afraid Lopez might see me. Anyway, what's with the Bucks Raptors ball? Like, why is it so feisty?
Well, I think we both pride ourselves on playing hard. I think both of us pride ourselves on our defensive intensity. And then, there's some history there. Since I've been here in Milwaukee, I think we've played them almost 4 times every single year. In my first year, we played them in the Eastern Conference, finals, and we're up 2-0 before they, obviously went on and won that championship. So I think for us, they've always, and Coach Nurse has done a great job trying to draw up schemes to stop our offense. We've always prided ourselves on defense and tried to find ways to slow them down, and they just end up being physical, imposing, intense battles. And I think, you guys got a great team. Toronto's got a great team. We got a great team. So when those competitive juices start flying, things can get a little chippy.
Yeah, by the way, you mentioned defense. Quite the win last night against the Pistons. You guys just dropped a casual 150. Like, what's going on with the scoring this year? Every other night, there's a guy dropping 50, or teams are putting up huge numbers. Like, did the NBA ban practicing defense or something?
No, I think you're just seeing guys in the talent level, the skill level continuing to grow year in and year out. You know what I mean? Basketball, in my opinion, is at its greatest point. And it's, since its inception, where guys are really working on their games 24/7, 365, and they're continuing to innovate and find new ways to score the basketball and, create new moves and be effective in different ways. We saw it with my teammate Giannis. He was known for the Euro step, right? Now he's got a turnaround fadeaway jump shot. Now he's hitting 3-pointers. He's still dunking all over everybody. You look at Luka Doncic, you saw him on the street, aside from the fact that he's 6'7", he may not look that imposing, but when you put him on a basketball floor, he can do things with the basketball that, no one imagined, right? And then Jason Tatum, Kevin Durant, Kyrie, the list goes on at how skilled and how talented the NBA is right now in today's world. So I think, it's becoming harder and harder to stop. And, it's the rules continue to grow and make it harder to defend. You can't just, bump guys, and when guys go into the lane, you can't just clobber them like you used to back in the days. There's going to be flagrant fouls. Like, they want to make sure that player safety is of the utmost priority. So there's a lot of things going for the offense nowadays, and guys are taking full advantage of it.
Yeah, I mean, Donovan Mitchell turning it around now with the Cleveland Cavaliers. The NBA is scary. I 100% agree with you.
Yeah, no, it's fun. It's fun to be a part of. I'm honored and blessed to be a part of it. I'm blessed to be on the team that I am, where we have games because of the talent we have, where we can put up 150 points on any given night. But that's the challenge. The challenge is, how do you stop the other team? And as the playoffs come around, you'll slowly start to see those numbers come down. There won't be a whole lot of 150-point games. There won't be a ton of 45, 50-point games. It'll become a slower half court, who can guard better.
So you're the type of player that can just do it all. You're a lights-out 3-point shooter. You can go up and get a huge board. You got mad hops. And for most of your career, you've been playing off the bench. Do you think your talents are better suited for the starting role, or do you like the bench mob?
I like both. To be honest with you, I'm kind of the type of guy that He's going to do whatever is needed to help the team win. That's what I kind of pride myself on. Obviously, sometimes I get stereotyped as he must just be a shooter. But my athleticism has been something that I've worked on since I was your age. I've been doing all sorts of box jumps and running with weight vests and things of that nature. My first dunk came when I was in 8th grade. So I think for me, a lot of my athleticism has stemmed from the fact that I've had a chip on my shoulder because people assume I'm not that athletic. But I pride myself in being a good basketball player, and I want to help my team win. At the end of the day, winning is most important to me. So whether it's starting, whether it's coming off the bench like I've done most of my career, my goal is to make an impact when I get into the game, and that's defending, rebounding, making plays for myself offensively, making plays for my teammates offensively, and just whatever. It's going to be different every single night. So whatever is needed on any given night to put ourselves in the best position to win is something that I'm going to do.
Oh gosh, I'm in the 8th grade, and the only thing I can dunk is Oreos into milk.
Hey, I'm a big lover of Oreos. I've been eating double stuffed Oreos since I was your age as well. So if this podcast goes viral and I'm able to get an Oreo sponsorship from it, I'll share something with you. All right.
All right. And by the way, I know your teammate Giannis loves Oreos too. He was talking about it in an interview or something. I was laughing so hard.
Yeah, I like the Orioles before Giannis, but Giannis gets a little bit more publicity, shall we say, than I do. So it becomes a bigger deal when he starts dunking Oreos.
Okay, so just to follow up for a second, when I was speaking to Coach Kerr, we were talking about in-game adjustments. And during that Celtics Bucks series, you were unbelievably hot. You were shooting 53% from the field, 42% from 3, and 100% from the line. Come on, you don't think you deserved a starting role there?
Hey man, I'm here to do my job. That's above my pay grade. I just want to try to help us win the game, but I will say that series was incredible. And for me, I'm from Boston. So when I was your age, I had a Celtics headband on. I had the Truth Paul Pierce armband.
Oh, Brooke won't like that.
I know he won't. He wouldn't love it. He wouldn't love it, but that's the truth. Luckily, I don't do it today, right? And so, for me to play in Boston was really cool. It was a lot of fun for me. It was something that meant a lot. Obviously, the series didn't go the way we wanted, but my job is to try to continue to push myself to be the best basketball player I can be. And if I can continue to do that, I'll put myself in more and more positions to help my team win. And that series kind of epitomized it, right? I grew up 7 miles from the Boston Garden. And I was in a position where there were a lot of people from Boston that said, hey, if this kid from Arlington's playing, then we're going to win the series. And that happened back when I was my first year here, and we ended up winning it. So it's just fun to compete at the Boston Garden. It's fun to continue to show the way that I've grown my basketball game.
Okay, so this next question requires your imagination. Okay, so you have one of the most deep teams in the NBA. But take Giannis out of the picture. Imagine he wasn't on your team in the playoffs, and you had a choice between one of these two players to take his place and lead your team. By the way, no one can replace Giannis, but just play along. Either Kevin Durant or LeBron. Who you got, Pat?
Ooh, that's a great question. I think with our team, I think LeBron's probably the best all-around basketball player to ever play the game. I'm still of the mindset that Michael Jordan's the best basketball player to ever play the game, but I think LeBron's the best all-around player. But when you look at who our team has, when you look at guys like Chris Middleton, you look at Drew Holiday, we have guys that are phenomenal when it comes to playing, all both sides of the ball and playing all around basketball. So I think being able to put a guy like Kevin Durant, who is his height, his size, but also his skill, who can shoot the ball and really spread the floor out for us, I think it would only make it more dangerous for guys like Drew and Chris. So I'm going to go with KD, but only by like a very, very slim margin.
Want to know who I'm taking?
Who?
I'm taking Luka.
You didn't give me that option.
You got to know. You got to know.
Why are you taking Luka?
Because, I fought long and hard with Damon Jones the past few years about how good Luka is. I've been saying how amazing he is, and Damon keeps telling me, you just gotta win in this. Like, you gotta win in the playoffs, Jake. And true, but I feel like he needs a better supporting cast. And with the team around him, if he came to the Bucks with players like you, Drew, and Chris Middleton, like all these guys, I feel like he'd just be so dominant.
I think you might be right. I mean, look, I have a theory that the teams that win championships in today's day and age, take out Steph Curry, have all had a versatile wing. They've had a Kawhi Leonard. They've had a LeBron James. They've had a Kevin Durant. They've had a Giannis Antetokounmpo, right? Like they've all had that wing that can play big in a small lineup or can play small in a big lineup, and they can defend all different positions. And so the one thing I would say to you is, Luke is 6'7", so he is a guy that's taller, especially even though he's a point guard, right? But if you have that versatile wing, if you look at Kawhi, LeBron, Kevin Durant, Giannis, they're all 6'8", 6'9", and above, and they can guard almost any position. Defense in the NBA, ends up winning you championships, in my opinion. So when you talk about Luka, Drew, and Chris being on the same team, Drew Holiday's going to have to take a big workload on that defensive end because I think he guards a little bit more than your boy Luka does.
Good point. Good point. Okay, so just 2 more questions left. That okay?
Yep.
So I want to ask you about trash talking in the league today. Not sure if you saw Pat Beverly talking some smack to Dame the other night, your former teammate, when he pretended to look at his watch in the 4th quarter and he put it in his pocket. I mean, who's the best trash talker in the NBA today? Is it you, Pat?
No, I don't do any trash talking. I try to let my game speak for itself, and the score at the end of the game speak for itself. But I think it's interesting. I think the best people that do the people that do the best trash talks are the ones that back it up. Patrick Beverly, I think, has always talked trash. I'm going to be on the side of Damian Lillard. That's my guy. Obviously, I played with him for 3 years, but I think he continues to back up anything he does, and he never talks first. He only responds. I think Pat Beverly talks a lot just to talk. So who's the best trash talker in the NBA? I don't know. Maybe Draymond Green. I mean, he's trash talked a pretty decent amount over the years I've been in the NBA from what I've seen, but they win, and he finds ways to help his team win. And I can respect a guy who can trash talk but still have an impact in helping his team win at the highest level.
Yeah, that's one of my 2 answers. My other one's Dylan Brooks. Dylan. He's so
Yeah, they haven't won yet though.
It's true. It's true. Okay, so last question, Pat. My Raptors have had a tough start to the season so far, and they might be big players at the deadline, but I think it's good for the Toronto fan base to hear what other players think of Fred VanVleet, because some fans are just throwing him under the bus this year. In your eyes, as someone who competes against Fred, what does he bring to the table?
A lot. He brings about a competitive nature. He brings about making winning plays, and obviously he can make big shots in timely manner. I think I played against Fred VanVleet back in college when he was at Wichita State. We beat him in the Sweet 16 going into the Elite 8 my senior year, and you could see right then and there he had competitive juice to him, and he was going to find a way to make himself into the best basketball player he could be, and he's done that in Toronto. I think obviously you guys are in a position right now where you're trying to figure out, do you rebuild or do you continue to grow with the young core that you have? I think you could go either way. I think Fred could have an impact on both sides of those things. I think he's obviously a super valuable trade asset, but I also think, you start putting the right pieces around him, he can really help you guys win. He's proven to be able to do that when you guys won the championship back 5 years ago. So I can't say enough about Fred. I think he lets his game do his talking. He fights every single night. He's going to compete as hard as he can every single night. He makes big-time shots, and he plays bigger than he is. And I think that in today's day and age in the NBA is big time because, it's a vertical game. It's tough when you're his height going up against those trees like Giannis and Brook Lopez and even the guys on his team, Pascal Siakam, OG Anunoby. I can't say enough good things about him. I think, his career is going to continue to flourish.
Pat, thanks so much for taking some time coming on my show today. Did you enjoy?
I enjoyed, man. Once again, Chad Forcier, he comes in clutch. He never steers me in the wrong direction.